Hey everyone, how are you? Oops, let me get my microphone here. I apologize. Hey everyone, how are you? I'm going to give a couple minutes, see if anyone hops on. People hop on. If not, I'll start talking shortly. So, one of the thumbnails that I put up here, excuse me, my eyes are very itchy. I apologize. Is acceptance, final lesson, and overload was the first one. Let's try and talk overload, if you will. Hi, Nadia. How are you? Spur of the moment. I figured it was something that needed to talk about. Anyway, overload. A lot of overload today. Hey, Lori, how are you? Hi, Hankowitz. I'm sorry I still can't see you, my friend. I wish I could. I don't know how to rectify that. I'm sorry. But the title was Overload. Final lesson. I forget the other one. I'm just tired. But anyway, I was speaking with a dear friend that's in the chat today. And, one of the things that I've been pursuing, I'm doing a show with Nadia and Jen Wednesday on Jen Ryder's channel, New Beginnings Tarot. So I've been just eating up information. And the funny thing about it is that it was just spider webbing. It was spider webbing outward so fast, so far. Spirituality kicked in, the downloads are kicking in, and it's like I hit a burnout point about 15 minutes ago. Excuse me. But I think it has to do with some of these energies, that we're dealing with also. I'm sleeping. I'm staying in bed longer, but I'm not resting. I'm sure a lot of people can empathize with that. And thanks, Hankwitz. I see you from Nadia. But anyway, the overload. I haven't been feeling much on these energies. But I had mentioned that, okay, I was seeing other people being affected by them. Well, I think today and yesterday doing information kept opening up rabbit hole. And the focus just went, hi, Lady D. Hi, sweetie. How are you? But anyway, and it was coming. It was coming. That's all I can tell you. It was staring down avenues and different things. Now, I think we can all kind of understand that. One of the things I was experiencing, and it's just I try and share what I think people might want to know or what they're going through, but just to kind of show that, we're not alone. You're not alone in these things. I've been wrestling with the acceptance of certain things. In other words, when we're going down a spiritual road, if you're more into the spiritual than you are the 3D, you'll understand this. It seems like we're starting to be handed hard choices in many respects. The hard choices are really accepting the spirituality side. And when I say that, I mean it's the stuff that you don't necessarily talk about or say out loud. Sometimes it's a revelation. I call it a mind fuck every so often. You get a completely blown out, wow, I can't accept that. But yet, it's true. So, been wrestling with that aspect of it. Excuse me. I don't know why I have a little bit of a runny nose today. But anyway, it's kind of cucky and shitty outside, so you know. But anyway, you know, a lot of times, you know, we get our minds blown in chat or information or anything like that. And then when you yourself experience that in one of your revelations or one of your understandings, and it opens your eyes for that brief moment, whether it's in meditation, whether it's connecting, whatever, it's like a total mind fuck. And it's hard to understand. It's like blows you away. A lot of people don't talk about that aspect of it. And I just had to get away from some of the materials that I was going through. I was going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and I couldn't see daylight any longer, so I had to pull myself out of it. And that's kind of where this video is going. So anyway, the acceptance of these certain things, it just seems to be, it's almost as individual as your ascension, as your learning, as your growth. In other words, we can all talk about accepting things. We can all talk about understanding things, but do we really? Okay, and this is coming from my own experience. Do we really accept? I mean, we say it. Uh, it's no different than affirmations in many aspects, but it's a little bit past that. Okay, like I am the light, I am the love, and then at some point you have to understand that you are exactly that. The I ams no longer matter because you actually are. It's no different from an apprentice to a master. There's no one box that you click that now that, oh, I'm a master. It's not a piece of paper. Same with becoming the observer. There's no manual that goes, oh, I've mastered this. But you know you have because you can see. So what I'm getting at is one of the things I'm kind of seeing with this Heaven's Gate portal that's kind of opening up for me, and I think there are individual porters, and this is my journey. Maybe it relates to you, so that's why I'm sharing. I see a final lesson for me, and final lesson is it's not like, oh, everything stops, it's good, I'm walking on water. No, this is a final lesson into let's just look at it this way. Okay, we're not children, we're adults. What makes us an adult? Is it responsibility, paying our bills, we own our own place, we have a apartment, whatever? Or is it being a righteous person, doing what's right, etc.? I mean, there's so many ways you can look at it. So in many respects, this is an adulthood. This is a kind of a perception of, well, I understand what I'm being shown, what I'm being given, but at the same time, I'm accepting it, but yet I'm having a hard time accepting it. I look at it that, no, I generally don't care what people think. I really don't. If you've talked to me, you know that. Okay, let's say, like I gave an example. Okay, let's just use my wife for an example. Honey's in the kitchen with me, and I'm going to levitate this cup of coffee over to me. Hear me out on this, okay? So anyway, I levitate the cup of coffee over to me. She sees it. She says, "What the fuck was that?" Okay, just her mind's blown. Here's the problem that I come into. Even though that's my wife and I love her dearly and with all my heart, will she accept that it's something I can do, or does it change her perception of me? Like totally. And, one of these things with these gifts that we're all slowly receiving, there's people ahead of me, there's people below me. I mean, we're all walking to our own paths and together. And I can admittedly say I have a fear of not what people think, but that their view will change of me. In other words, I'm still Joe, I'm still Jay, but their perception changed. Like, okay, how do you handle that? There's a lot of us that don't have supporting loved ones or understand things, and some of us do. So this is a lesson that I have to get over here, this understanding of perception. I look at it as, even though I say I accept it, what I worry about is the persons that are dear to me, even though they're like us. But what if this really happened? Does that person's perception of you change? It's human nature in many cases. Some people go, oh, that's really cool. There would be certain people that are jealous. There would be certain people that would believe it. But again, when you see it and you come to that mindfuck moment, how is it perceived? Again, something I'm wrestling with. I'm just throwing it out there for you all. Have you experienced something, or is that a fear of yours? And, I didn't really think, I don't see it as a fear. What I'm worried about is, okay, these gifts are from God and divine in many respects. And again, I'm not saying I can levitate shit. Okay, let's understand that was an example. But when people see you do what you do outside of our community, and they can feel it. They can feel it on the video. If you're an energy person, you can see when someone connects. You can feel it. You know it. It's not just it comes through the screen. It doesn't have to be in person. Now be in person with that person. It's an even more totally different perception. And my fear is they won't see the greater creator behind it, and that I'm just a tool, no different than a rock or a stone or a crystal or a tarot card. Like shit all of a sudden just got real for them. How do we handle that? Something I'm wrestling with. Possibly you are past that, possibly you are experienced that, or possibly you aren't there. But again, I see this time, this energy. For me, it's getting very narrow. In other words, it's starting to come down to a point of I don't want to say shit or get off the pot, but there is something that you have to grab onto or accept, regardless of the consequences. Are you willing to do that? Am I willing to do that? My heart tells me I am. I don't have a problem of how people see me. What I have a problem is how they perceive it. In other words, if these things happened, okay, I was Jay or Joe before this. Okay, there's Lori in the chat. Okay, Lori, you're just Lori. Okay, and if people can see these things happening to you, are you still Lori? Lady D, Hankowitz, are you still, in their eyes, your friend, or does something change? The pessimist of me, the human side, says things change. And I understand that's human nature. There's nervousness, there's scaredness, there's jealousy, there's all kind of avenues that can go. And the reason I'm bringing up is going down all these rabbit holes that I've been going down. How do we cope with that? How do we yes, I know you're still you. And that's not you. I look at myself as I'm still me also. But would your family change their perception of you? All of a sudden shit just got weird fast. Not just fast, but like a train wreck in your living room. That's what I'm getting at. And like I'm saying, I'm just throwing out these feelings and letting you guys know what I'm kind of experiencing. And we can learn through it together. If you're experiencing, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. It doesn't matter. But it's no different than, okay, let's just use a born again Christian for example. Please, I'm not bashing you. Or let's just say someone of faith. Okay, all of a sudden they realize their faith. And the quote born again, they just can't wait to go out and tell you the word of God and what the Bible's saying. And people are understanding to a point, but you don't tire. You're riding the high. You want to preach the word of God to everyone you see. It gets old. They don't want to hear it. They're not willing to hear it. They're not willing to accept it. And did you change? In many respects, possibly. But you're still the same person. However, how you perceive things now has changed. And for a lot of people, it doesn't jive. That's okay. And me and Naughty were talking about this because it just kind of came up in conversation. We do a lot of thinking, sharing. And like I said, going down all these rabbit holes, it's to the point of shit's getting real. So where do you go from there? I'm handling it. I'm adjusting it. Put your thoughts in the chat in the comments. But it's no different. I mean, most people look at this as spirituality. Oh, it's it's not of the Bible and all this bullshit. Look, it's God. So, I don't give two shits about the religion. Don't care. But there is there is a point, I think, even in biblical stories, that there's a decision has to be made, and you have to walk with that decision. Now, I think I'm walking with that decision, but yet, am I really? Because I do have some apprehension on certain things, and that's normal. But you start to get to the point of where shit gets real. Where do we go from there? Now, going back to the born again Christians, that has just renewed his faith, he's saying, "Oh my God, people don't want to talk to me. What do I do?" And for some of us, there's a breaking point. We saw that with the people telling no bad, oh good, no bad, oh good. Again, their perception changed on you. If I can use that as an example, whether you did or you didn't, that's a primary example of how perception changed. You didn't change, but people's perception changed. So, I mean, it's kind of a philosophical question in many respects. I'm trying to work something out with my spirit and my consciousness. I'm trying to map this out. There's no manual. There's no, well, if this happens, go to part B. And then once that happens, proceed to part 12. Again, everyone looks at it a different way. Everyone experiences it a different way. But there are similarities in the fact of feelings, confidence, humility, many of those. I can't read what Hankowitz wrote, unfortunately. Could you type that in, someone? Agreed, Hankowitz. I like Hankowitz's perspective. I always have. I just can't see him. So again, what are you going to do when shit gets real? I put it this way. When it comes to God, when it comes to spirit, it comes to what you're supposed to be doing or what you're meant to be doing, it's going to happen. You don't win against spirit. You don't win against God. You're going to be put where you need to be put. And in most cases, even if you try to back away from it, they keep bringing you back in. Okay. So they are. And there's no getting away from certain things. Could someone type what Hankowitz typed, please? It's like, okay, it's profound. Agreed, Hankowitz. Someone type in what Hankowitz said, please. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. It's not what am I going to do? It's when am I going to do it? Because I know I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to win this battle. And it's not a battle. That's just it. My mind perceives it as a battle. I just have to surrender and let it go. Yes, I see you. Please don't bomb me. Please go the other side. But anyway, we're all where we're supposed to be at this point. We realize that we're all also going to change. Okay, at some point. I had a conversation with Delphine, Lady D. This is a while back. Okay, we've all grown certain ways. We all started kind of in the kids' chat. We've all moved on because we're being drawn by our past. We're being drawn by our growth. I said to Delphine, I said, there may be times where I can't do the chat, or you may not be able to do the chat. We're all growing. The fact remains that we have to stay contacted. We have to stay within each other. We have to be understanding of these things. Okay, let me read this. A man never walks in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man. Damn, that's tight. Wow, that's awesome, Hackowitz. That is really profound. Is what Delphine said. It really is. We got to hook you up with Dennis, I think. Okay, we're throwing you in there. But again, I'm sitting here. Hey, Jen, how are you? I'm sitting here telling you about a struggle that I'm going to lose because it's my path, and it's not a matter of time, but when. So again, just trying to share what I'm feeling, I'm going through. As you can see, my eyes are about this big. It's kind of I'm not trying to fight it. What I'm trying to do is not just say I'm accepting it, but really understanding that I'm accepting it. But am I? At some point, it's no different than realizing that, okay, let's just take the first master. Master is a title given to you by someone who you learn from. You're learning from that person. You consider him a master. You're an apprentice. It's a human thing, 3D. But before the first master, you just were you. Okay, nothing changed. You were being you, whether it was your growth or not. So, okay, for example, of this first master, let's call him Cho. Did Cho's wife change because he's now a master? Because of how she perceives him, he's still Cho to her. It would be no different than becoming president. And, one day you're sweeping streets, the next day you're president. All of a sudden, what happened? What is the perception of change? You're still that person. So anyway, again, I just want to let you know, everything is not. We all have our issues. Now, the final thing that I asked is, I kind of perceive this as like a final test. In other words, like, but it's not the end. This is just my final. If you remember when you were in school, we had finals. In other words, are you going to make it to the next step? And in many aspects, I perceive this as my final. I know I'm going to pass because I'll have no choice. But when am I going to pass? See, right now we're not under a time restriction, as in a classroom, like you have to have this done by before the bell rings. You get an hour. So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking this not as a test, but like a final lesson, if you will, to move on, to let go of something very earthly, but yet intimate. And yet I don't care. I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm having a tough time with it. And I really didn't think I was having a tough time with it. But the more I looked at it, talked about it, it's one of these things that I'm coming up against a wall on. And I'm a person that doesn't like change. I don't. And yet, you know, God's Spirit chose me for these things, certain things. Like I said, I know I'll pass. It's no different than I know I'm protected. I've been blessed. I've not been spiritually attacked. They showed me what it's like. They showed me what it was to feel it. But I haven't been. It's not because I'm more spiritual. No, they're doing it, not me. And that's my point. This isn't about me. This isn't about you. This is about God, the divine source, however you want to look at it. This is a decision that's made, and you have to fulfill it in many respects. Can you walk away from it? Sure. Will they give you a chance to come back into it and flow back into it? Absolutely. But I'm at the point of the shit or get off the pot flow. It's that decision is coming, and I know I have to make that decision. Am I looking forward to making that decision? In many aspects, yes. But in many aspects, no. Are people going to look at me again? I don't care the perception. What I'm saying is did I change in their eyes? Do I no longer become Joe or Jay? What's going to change for them? And there's truly, you know, I love all you guys, but there really is only a handful of people that I call my friends. And I would say even in this chat, most of you are probably like that also. You may know a lot of people, you may deal with a lot of people, but you really truly don't have a ton of people that you consider a friend. You know, a lot of people, you say they're a friend of these people, but they're not your goombas. They're not your, you know, pull them into the heart of your circle, share your life, share your experiences, most intimate details. You only have a handful of those, and they're precious. They are, and they should be. So I just thought I'd throw that out there because my mind needed a break from spirit, the deep diving, and everything like that. I thought I'd throw it out there. We are different. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, we're different in the sense of a lot of people like peanut butter and jelly. And this is just an example. Don't quote me on this, but I like that would be like eating peanut butter and sauerkraut with toasted marshmallow. It's out of the norm. But isn't he precious? But different is always good. It is. But again, dance to your own music. And again, I just thought it was kind of wanted to share that aspect of it, and I mean, I know everyone's going through a different thing. Some of you are really tapped into the 3D. Maybe this doesn't make sense to you, or maybe it does, you don't understand it. That's fine. But those of you that do, have you ever really voiced it out there? I mean, our paths are individual, as our own journey, but we don't have to be alone when it comes to that. I mean, in many cases, learn from our mistakes. So anyway, I thought I'd share it. I'm being drawn again for the dive. I thought I was done with the deep diving, and I'm not. I'm being pressured to keep going here. Thank you. So anyway, love you guys. I hope you understood that. I'll let you know how the test goes when I complete it. I don't think there's a time frame on it, but I know it's coming soon. Anyway, love you guys. Talk to you soon.